Hi, my name is Samara. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner, whichever you like, you can call me. I know I'm at kind of an angle right now, but it took me forever to get my phone so that it wouldn't fall over. So I'm not gonna mess with it, and I'm just going to get on with this video, which is an update for my Pan That palette for this year, which is actually 2 Pan That palettes. And I'm using the original Pan That palette theme that was created by Amber F. And I'm also using the Better Together theme that was created by Paula. So I'll leave both of them linked down below. And basically, you probably know what Pan That palette is, where you just pick a palette and try to hit pan in all of the, or as many of the shades as you can, or completely finish it. Some people do it different ways. I know I'm not going to finish it because I'm not a fast panner at all. And then Better Together, if you haven't seen this before, it's basically an idea that Paula created where you choose a palette to go along with your Pan That palette, or just 2 palettes that pair together and that work better together. So the 2 palettes that I have are my original Pan That palette. Oh my god, just jumped on her tower. My original Pan That palette, which is my Sigma Ambiance, which is really shiny right now. And then the palette that I chose to pair with it is my Sephora Playlist Blues Beauty palette, because this is a mostly warm tone palette and this is a completely cool tone palette. So I'll show you what they look like, and I think I'll actually start with, sorry if you can hear kids yelling. Kids are always yelling in my apartment complex. But I'll start with the Blues Beauty palette because, as always, this doesn't have that much progress on it because I do use it. Even though I brought it into this project to complement that first palette, it does get less use because I don't always need it. And also the shadows are a lot thinner and much more tightly pressed. So yeah, there isn't a lot of disturbance even if you use it often. But anyway, here's what it looks like right now. The biggest changes will, sorry about my creaky chair. The biggest changes will be, if you can see it, which I don't know if you can, in this setting shade, because I have used this a handful of times to set my makeup, but I don't think using it that much would like show a dip. Even though I can see a slight dip, you're not gonna pick it up on camera because of, like, when you shine a light on it, like I have to film, it just completely makes the dip disappear. I do have a few uses on this shade. The shades don't have names in this. Well, maybe they do actually. No, they don't. So I do have a few uses on this shade, but it's not going to look any different. But I just use this when I'm literally just trying to fly out the door and I want something on my eyes, because this is basically a cool tone version of my skin tone, so it barely shows up on my eyes, but it does create that dimension that I want for just something there. And then I think I did use this once, definitely not as often as I was using it the month before, because I was really going hard on this one, pairing it with a shade in my Ambiance palette. But I didn't really do that look too often this past month, and you'll see why. But basically this one is going to pretty much look the same. And I didn't use the other 4 eyeshadows in this palette, unfortunately. So now onto my Ambiance palette, and the eyeshadow that I have on now is, that squeaky chair is so annoying. I'm so sorry about that. Like, this video doesn't have enough noises with the yelling kids and the yelling cats. But the eyeshadow that I'm wearing is completely from the Ambiance palette. I always like to do, if I can, I like to do a look from one of these or both of these palettes for these updates, because I feel like other than the few shades that I use on a daily basis, they don't get that much use. So I like to show them love that way. But here is what this palette is looking like now. And I'll talk about the elephant in the room. This shade Basque has a huge dip in it now. I feel like I'm gonna hit pan any day now, but I just had to get this video filmed, so I couldn't wait to hit pan. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have pan in that one next update, so that'll be something to look forward to. I either used this once or 0 times, this shade Candlelight, which before this update was my most used shade. Well, actually I did use Basque a lot, but these were probably tied for my most used shades. And it also had the biggest dip in it last update, so the difference between these two now is like very drastic, which is kind of sad because I actually thought that I was like 1 use away. I didn't say it, but I thought I was like 1 use away from hitting pan in Candlelight last time, because like the way the dip is, it kind of looks like the way the dip looks right before you hit pan. But then looking at this one now, it is so much deeper than the pan in Candlelight, so I'm gonna have to use that one a lot to hit pan. Anyway, I got sidetracked on my sad little story. So yeah, I do have a huge dip in this shade Basque, which I'll definitely have pan in next time. And then I did increase the dip in this shade, what is it? Enrich. I still don't know the names of these shades. I increased the dip in the shade Enrich, but who knows if you're gonna really see it. Yeah, you can't see it well because it's so dark in that pan. But that's because pretty much, I would say like 50 to 75% of the last month I was wearing just these two, and then I would sometimes set my eyeshadow with this shade days if I wasn't using the lid setting shade in the other palette. But I was using these two almost every day the past month just for an easy 2 shadow look, and I really like doing that because I was focusing more on bolder lips than bolder eyes, and I also had this look where I would do those two for a super simple look and then put a blue eyeshadow stick on my lower lash line, and it was like a really nice pop of color. But that's how I got this huge dip in Basque, and I'm really excited about it. But only 1 pan in 6 months is also very sad. So I think I'm going to have to really step up my game. So we'll just have to see where I am next month. Hopefully I'll hit pan in this early on so that I can focus on Candlelight and the other shade in my other palette more. And I do use this shade Enrich a lot. Pretty much every time that I use Basque, but because I don't like to do super heavy looks, I don't use that much of it. Not that this one is like super dark and pigmented like the Melt palette, everyone knows what I'm talking about. But I kind of like to keep things lighter when I'm going to work, especially now that it's spring. So yeah. Now quickly I'll just talk about the look that's on my eyes. As I was saying, I like to do looks with different shades in this palette that I don't use on a regular basis. So what I'm wearing now is I have this shade Daylily, which is kind of like a warmer version of Basque. Even though this is warm, this is like it's pretty much a light orange. So I have that all over my lid, all over my like crease and transition area and my lower lash line. And then on top of that, I have a mixture of Firefly and Marigold on my lid. And then I have a mixture of Luster and Marigold in my inner corner. Luster and Marigold is probably my favorite inner corner shade of this entire year. I just really love the way it looks for like warmer toned looks. And whenever I use this palette and I'm doing an inner corner, I always pull those in together. It's just a really beautiful combination. And I think it looks glamorous. but it looks glamorous without looking like too crazy and full of color, even though I like that sometimes. If I'm doing like a bolder lip, I don't want to do like eyeshadow that's too out there. Oh, and then I also do have a tiny bit of Enrich just on the outer half of my eyes because I wanted a little bit of depth, and I found that when I put Enrich, or when I mix Enrich and Daily, oh my god, I cannot speak. When I mix Enrich and Daylily together, it makes this really beautiful burnt orange that's like a lighter version of, I can't remember if it's Oasis or Summer Solstice, but it makes a lighter version of a burnt orange, which I already have in this palette. So that was a really nice find, and I really think that this eye look is beautiful, especially paired with this lip color. That's what's on my eyes, and that was the update for my Pan That palette. I'll just end it here since these kids are kind of getting really crazy. But I am excited for that pan next month, and then I'll be moving on to something else, and hopefully I can just start hitting pans. It would be nice to have one eyeshadow pan a month going forward, but I don't think that's gonna happen, but that's gonna be my goal going forward. So we'll just see what happens. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and good luck with your Pan That palette if you're doing one. And yeah, hang in there. Bye.